Hey Township, I'm Alex Emmerich with Blue Streak News, and on today's broadcast, we'll be finding out whether or not Mini-Thon is happening with Street Spitzley, this week's history with Elizabeth, and the Wall Street implosion with Tiernan Barber.
Hello Township High, welcome to today's broadcast of the Blue Streak News. I'm your host Street Spitzley, and today's topic is related to Manheim Township Mini-Thon, and the Mini-Thon is a 12-hour event that happens throughout the whole high school, and the whole purpose of the event is to help raise money for kids that are battling cancers. But because of coronavirus, we're still not sure if it's going to happen this year. So I spoke to Mr. Aiello, who's one of the staff in charge of the event, and I asked him whether it's going to happen or not, and what's going to happen whether it happens or not. So here's what Mr. Aiello had to say.
Hey guys, Street Spitzley here again. I'm with Mr. Dan Aiello here, one in charge of Mini-Thon. So, Mr. Aiello, do you think there's going to be a Mini-Thon this year?
Well, not really sure if it's going to look like the same as it did last year. We're still trying to figure out some things. We don't really know at this time. It's going to be really difficult to have this type of event with all the different protocols and procedures we'd have to have. So, I can't say for sure yes or no, but it's definitely going to be difficult for us to pull off what we did last year.
So if it does happen, what kind of changes are you expecting to see?
Well, if it were to happen, we would definitely have to have a lot fewer people because we can only have, I think, 200 in a closed setting. So, we'd have to have a lot fewer people. There would have to be a lot more cleaning, a lot more physical distancing. So there's a lot of things we'd have to keep in mind, which is why it might be really tough to pull off this year.
And so if it does not happen this year because of COVID cases, what do you think, what are your plans otherwise if this doesn't work out?
That's a great question. So I know our kids, before everything happened in November, were trying to work on making a pageant, the Four Diamonds pageant that we normally have every year. Yeah. They're trying to make that virtual, which will look a little different, but they did select the pageant contestants. We got the sports teams, and they had some things in the works. Then everything happened in the beginning of November, so we had to hit pause on that for a while. But I know our kids are looking at trying to make that happen and make that just as good as it could be without, obviously, the face-to-face component. But that might be our big project for the year, is trying to make a really cool virtual Four Diamonds pageant.
And if this Mini-Thon does happen this year, is everybody going to be required to wear a mask at all times?
In accordance to anything with our health and safety protocols here, absolutely. So.
And last thing, are there any other ways we could still find a way to raise money to fight cancer while we can still guarantee the health and safety of all staff and students?
Well, we are going to, now that we're back in this green phase, we're going to try to look at some ways that we can get involved, hopefully more of the student body. I don't have any specifics with that yet, but hopefully we can get some different fundraisers. Again, I hope the pageant will bring some people together, and that could be a way that we can push out the donor drive, and we can get people to maybe sign up for that and raise money. And, we'll try to come up with some creative things, especially if the main event can't happen. I know our kids and our student leaders will try the best as they can to come up with some really cool ideas.
Well, there you have it, folks. So again, Township is still uncertain as to whether Mini-Thon will happen this year. So stay tuned and check out the Mini-Thon's social media pages and check out the website and for any updates as to whether it's going to happen this year or not. But for now, that's all I've got. This has been today's broadcast of the Blue Streak News. I'm your host, Street Spitzley, and I hope you have a great day, Township High. That is all. Go Blue Streaks.
Monday was President's Day, but did you know that the first ever teddy bear was sold on February 15th too? It was even named after President Theodore Roosevelt. We are also wishing a very happy birthday to Susan B. Anthony, the women's suffrage leader, and Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, who turned 58 on Wednesday. And that's what happened this week in history.
It's been 10 years since the Occupy movement began to challenge the power of Wall Street in this country. Now, people are upset all over again, but this time in a different form, directed at hedge funds. Hedge fund managers have been using a strategy called short selling for years. They borrow shares of a company at an inflated price, hoping that it will drop someday soon, and wait till later to sell it back when they can make a hefty profit.
When the users of Wall Street Bets discovered that certain stocks like GameStop and Nokia were being borrowed and sold at an incredibly high rate of up to 140% of the available shares, they decided to band together and try to buy some of these stocks in order to drive the price up, thus making hedge funds take a massive loss. And for a while, it seemed like it was going to work. Major news outlets began reporting on the incident as an uprising against the rich.
Unfortunately for the traders, several platforms, from the older E-Trade and TD Ameritrade to the very recent Robinhood, who brands themselves as democratizing investment for everyone, began blocking purchases, which drove the price way down. This sparked outrage from the online communities, claiming that Wall Street just won't let the little guy win. Legal struggles began, with Robinhood eventually being forced to pay $65 million in a lawsuit to the SEC. The SEC also began to investigate posts from social media users like those of Wall Street Bets to figure out if anyone was engaging in fraudulent market manipulation as well.
We've seen extended coverage of the event. It was hailed as a populist uprising, but oddly, a Netflix movie was announced and even Popeyes made an ad about it. The event has been turned into a narrative of resistance against the system, but with support from so many large corporations and government officials, what is it really resisting?
As those most involved have attested, this is not an epic crusade to get retribution on the financial sector for its reckless greed. The financial industry as a whole does not care, and this is just another blip on its radar. Upon hearing this, one has to wonder how much resistance we provide by giving our bank information to an online brokerage and buying stocks. But it does certainly serve as a peaceful outlet for the anger that investors have been feeling for the past year.
Which is something that is playing out quite differently in Europe, where people are directing their anger from the economic devastation at the lockdowns.
This event raises the question of what makes authentic populism. Was the anger generated towards Wall Street, millionaires, and hedge funds really exemplary populism? Were they the source of the economic stress of the past year? Moreover, for those interested in challenging the powers of the financial institutions in this country, is buying stocks really the best way to do so? I'm Tiernan Barber from Blue Streak News. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to the next broadcast to see what's happening with Township.